So I made this aquarium here for my Pistogramma and Venezuelan cories, about 4 or 5 months ago. Anyway, it was good while it lasted, but I want to do something different. So the tank itself is running along nice and healthy. We've got a brilliant filter in there. Well, it's just an internal canister filter, but it works brilliantly, and it means we've got a whole established filter for the next setup. Also, this substrate system underneath, if you remember, I put aquasoil bags, which means I can reuse that as well. So we're going to have so much beneficial bacteria that the new tank is going to do brilliantly. I just noticed something funny as well. Look at these oh, see you later. This one here that just sat there, the oranges on them are so bright. And this is one of those tanks I kept natural. I was going for a natural look, so I left all algae where it wanted to grow to a degree. If there was like string algae everywhere, I did remove it. But overall it's done really well. I just think it's time for something different. I want to move on. I've got a great idea for this tank. First thing though is to take everything out. Right, so here is the tank. If you're wondering what's going on in that bottom section, when I last built a tank, no, not the last one, the one before, you couldn't see all of that because the sand and all the rocks went away, and I couldn't get the paintbrush down any lower because I painted it after I built the scape because I didn't like the greyness of the background here. So it's left a little gap. I can sort that out now, and I don't think it's going to matter anyway, to be honest, but whilst I can, I should sort it. So we've put that right. We've also managed to put a load of paint on the bottom of the tank as well, but you know, it doesn't matter. We won't see that in a minute. Right, first up, nutrients. So I already had bags of aquasoil underneath the sand layer we had in the previous setup. Those can go straight back in. They're not that old and they're all good. Yeah, so I've got them down here. This was a gravel layer, gravel and sand, and then underneath it. And if anyone is worried about if the roots can penetrate or not, well, just look at that. We've got loads of roots in there. Whoa, big one there. And they're all from the Amazon swords, to be honest. But that whole bag there will probably be enough. We've got a couple as well. I don't want it too thick, you see. So you might be able to tell here, I'm trying to lay these inside so that I'm pushing down on them at the front so that most of the soil sort of pushes to the back, so we haven't got it too high in that foreground. I want it higher in the foreground, lower in the foreground, but not too much, you know. I only want a small amount of sand on this one, just as like a nice sort of 1-inch border. That should look pretty good. So that's the nutrients sorted. Now, if I was going to be planting into the substrate, which I'm not on this one because of the theme that I'm going for, I would put root tabs and things like that back into these bags just to give them some extra nutrients. But like I say, it's not going to need it, so I'm not going to waste the tabs. If I want to at a later date, I can just push some root tabs into the sand that's now going on top. And this right here, I've got Hardscape all on the way. This is the sand that I want to use. It's like a proper sand, isn't it? I don't know what that means, a proper sand. Hopefully you know what that means. You see, I was going to reuse the old stuff, but I don't like all the different bits and that in it. I think that's going to spoil the effect I'm going for, so I'm going for that finer, clean sand. Okay, looking good. Now we may well need some more sand as we move along, but oh my goodness, it's so bright, isn't it? You can't even see it. We may well need some more sand as we move along, but for now I'm just going to put that in. And next up is the main sort of structure. I want to start using Stone. I'm going to try and create that sort of reefy look with those plates. Do you know what I mean? Those stacked plates that they have. It's actually a coral, but I'm going to try and simulate it with the rocks. And out here is my hardscape section. So look, this piece of rock, for instance, nice and flat and thin. That's the sort of stuff I want to go for. I've got a few of them dotted around. I think, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, like that one as well. So that should work. So the whole idea here is we're making these sort of plates or shelves, and it needs to go higher and keep some coming in, but I'm going to be balancing everything. Nothing's going to be stuck down, so we need to be very careful and making sure that it's all locked in and secure as we go. Right, so that's something like what I want, but not quite that, because this piece here is too big, I think, for the second layer. I kind of want like 2 smaller pieces to add as pillars for a 3rd or a 4th layer at slightly different angles, that kind of thing. So we've got like more of an open sort of hole in the middle. We've got that little one, but I want it sort of much bigger than that. Okay, actually I really like that. I think I'm going to have to sacrifice a bigger opening in the middle, because to get the good angles you need to go into that gap. Do you know what I mean? If I flatten it out, you just lose that outward sort of angly thingy we've got going on. I mean, straight away it's a great platform, isn't it, for being able to display the plants that I want to display on it, which is going to be bucephalandra and Anubias petite. So I'm just going to put them in like rows, I think, and just have them as this awesome display of them. I mean, this light is pretty powerful. It's already like a 1/3 of the power down because I put some black tape all the way across a load of the LEDs. And that is necessary, to be honest, because if I had that full, it would be algae in this tank in no time. I've done it before on tanks, left this on full, and it's just too much without CO2 injection and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's all right, just reduce the power a bit, and then it should work beautifully. Also, another thing that's really useful when you're setting up your tank like this, leave a channel down the back. Look, there's a channel and it goes all the way through, to be honest. It's small, but it will go all the way through, which means that water and any mess that's on top of the sand at the back there can be just circulated around and picked up by the filter, which again, made sure that I've left a gap for. I've made a mistake before of doing a whole scape. I didn't leave any gap for a filter. Some people just use canister filters, obviously, have them overhanging in with the inlet and outlet, and that's absolutely fine. I just like using the internal ones. I find that I keep up on maintenance a lot better when I've got to just stop it making that horrible rattle noise where the filter is just completely blocked up and clogged. So that's like my reminder. In fact, I think I can hear it going on now with that one in there. Next thing I want to do is add in some sticks to sort of link everything together. I'm going to use these, they're like cut-offs from like Redmore root, I think, or spiderwood, and I'm just going to sort of place it amongst it in one sort of flowing direction, following out from that back corner, and I think it should tie it all together nicely, and it will give us some channels to plant into or onto. I don't know really, I'm kind of winging this, making it up as I go along. I've got like an idea in my head, and hopefully it ends up like that. Okay, it was going well, but this piece not working, way too straight and like just, I don't know, just makes it look weird. Shall I take you out? Actually looks better already without it, doesn't it? Okay, there we go. I really like that. It's going to look so clean, isn't it? And I think in these top sections and on top of there, I'll place other rocks that have got the plants attached to, just to give them a little bit more height. And again on that side, so then we've got full range of the aquarium. We've got the height and we've got the width, we've got details, we've got open areas as well, which is really good. Yeah, I think it's going to work good. Now obviously all of those sticks will just float now if we put water in it, so we need to glue them down. And you guys know the drill. The cyanoacrylate super glue gel. I use the Gorilla stuff, just find it works really well. I'm sure there's cheaper options, but this is stuff that I have to hand. It's a gel obviously, so it makes a little nugget of glue. It can take about 24 hours to fully sort of set, but it's workable again after you go away and sort of come back, as long as you don't knock it too hard. Right, there we go. Everything is firmly stuck down. Looks a little bit of a mess at the moment, but it won't do when we're done. That big stick coming up at the back there I added as well, which again looks odd, but it does follow the line, and also I want to use it as like a plank, if you like, for the other plants to stick on, like the Anubias, the bucephalandra, just a row of them along there, like Anubias, Buce, and I think that looks so cool. Time will tell. If not, I can just break it off. Now, speaking of Buce and Anubias, I have bought so much. Here is some of it. Now, this cost me an arm and a leg, but I think it's going to be worth it with the result. We've got 3 different kinds of bucephalandra. We've got the Anubias petite as well. This isn't all of it, by the way. We've also got a load in here as well. We've got so many plants in stock at the moment. That's because I've got lots of projects coming up. But this one, I'm mainly going for the Buce, the Anubias, some of that Hygrophila pinnatifida you can sort of see at the back there as well. I think will go really good in the top section just to give it a little bit more height. So we've got 3 different types of bucephalandra there, or I suppose it's actually pronounced bucephalandra, but Buce just sounds better, doesn't it? It just works. This is the wavy green. And it says here that it's called something different that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. But yeah, I'm not sure why it's changed its name, but it seems to have done. And then we've got the Kadagang. That's this one here, look, that looks so good. And then we've got the red, which, as I always say, isn't red at the moment. But if you can sort of see the redness peeking through, and it tends to go more red underwater as well. So we can get gluing. We can glue these in with the cyanoacrylate super glue gel again. Just gonna start placing them and then make it up as I go along. So I'm just spraying down the rock. Oh no, that's too hard. We want it on the mist setting, of course. Now yeah, I'm just spraying down the rock and the wood because when there's a little bit of moisture on it all, the glue seems to stick a lot better. Oh, I just hit the tank. Right, I'm thinking that's a fantastic start. It's not as dark as it's coming out, but I think the camera's struggling. Hang on. Okay, that's a lot better. Colours are way more sort of popping how I'm seeing them now. What I want to do now is put the Hygrophila pinnatifida. I want to have it in that area at the back and this area here, so you can't see the base of it, so it's just peeking over the top. That should look great. Okay, that is looking so good, but what I want to do now is frame some of the bottom sections with some Anubias petite, just like in a row, and I think that'll look really good and tie it all in together quite nicely. Okay, we're looking really good. Next up, I want to add some detail in this foreground area, so I'm thinking a nice rock here about yay big, with a mix of sort of everything, apart from the Hygrophila pinnatifida, to be honest, because that'll grow way too big for that area. Although it might look good if I can just keep it short. We'll see. Anyway, I'll grab a rock, I'll put a bit of everything on it. Right, I might want to be adding more plants, maybe something as a substrate, I'm not sure yet, but I need to fill it up with water because I'm running out of time in today. In today? I don't know what that means. Anyway, I need to fill it up. Oh, looking good, isn't it? It's still quite a few sort of bubbles everywhere. We can now add in the filter in that back corner, and remember it's fully cycled as well, so we're all ready to go straight away. So all of that muckiness there you can see in all the water column, that's all good. That's going to add, you know, beneficial bacteria and just get everything sort of covered in it, biofilm, the lot. Perfect for the fish. It'll clear in no time as well. So the water has cleared up beautifully now, but I want to add in some stem plants just to help with nutrient absorption when you're setting everything up, because obviously it's such a new setup. So I'm just going to trim off a few. I'm going to take a few out of this tank here. This is the Ecosystem Aquarium. They've got loads of good stems growing there. Look, we've got Rotala Green, Rotala rotundifolia. Not too many. I'm just going to like cut off a few and bunch them together and then just drop them in some of the different gaps you can see, like down there, keep it down low, some in the background area, some over there. It's just really going to help with the initial setup of this tank. Yeah, that's a little bit too high, so I think I'll push that down a little deeper. there we go. I'm liking that. It really has got that sort of reefy feel to it, doesn't it? There's a lot of Buce on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think, pots of Buce. Oh, one down there as well, 13. So yeah, very, very Buce heavy. Now that's all sort of going to creep and grow as well. I could fill out more of the gaps, but then you wouldn't be able to see any of the rock or the wood, would you? So I think that's just about enough. And we're pretty much there. We're time to add our fish. Remember, everything's cycled so they can go straight back in. Okay, so we haven't got a huge amount of colour on the cories at the moment, but they are colouring up actually. That won't take long at all, to be honest. Straight away, they're going to love all these little areas, aren't they, to swim in? Oh yeah, here's the male Epistogramma. Look, he's got some good colours on him. The female usually takes more time to colour up. Where is she? Oh, I just saw her go around the back there. Oh, you nearly saw her. Yeah, so she'll take a little bit longer to colour up, but eventually she'll be fine. This happened the last time I did a new setup for them, like 5 months ago. The cories are already starting to do laps around the back as well, which is awesome. Standard cory behaviour. As soon as you put them in a tank, let's just do circles around everything. Oh look, they're coming through the middle way as well. That little gap in the middle. Brilliant, that's what I wanted them to do. Now you might be wondering what all the ottos are going to eat, because there isn't any sort of algae anywhere. Trust me, with this light, there'll be algae in no time for them to munch on. Within days, they'll have plenty of food sources. But in the meantime, I'll put some little algae wafers and things like that in there, just so they've got something to munch on.